On this Community Wednesday, let's break down the M82. The M82 has changed quite a lot since the Cold War integration. It used to be a lot more similar to the Rytec, but now it shares a lot more similarities with more long-range rifles. But a lot of people seem to dismiss it due to its rate of fire and bullet velocity. But are they right to, or should more people start using it? In this build, we're using the RAP suppressor, the 22.6-inch combat recon, SWAT 5mW laser sight, bruiser grip, and the airborne elastic wrap. Although I should say that the bruiser grip isn't a necessary part of this build. If you'd rather have a larger magazine or a quicker reloading magazine, you can definitely use that, or maybe you want an ADS strafe stock. The bruiser grip is mainly here to just get you moving a little bit faster and making your stability just that much better. But let's get into the stats, starting with mobility. It has an ADS time of 570 milliseconds, which is kinda average for a long-range rifle. But it is substantially slower than some other rifles like the Tundra or even the ZRG. Its reload and reload add times are 4.4 and 3.16 seconds, and with its mag cap of 5, you're probably gonna wanna reload on your 4th shot. Its movement and sprint speeds aren't the worst, but its sprint speed is slightly above average, so if you need to run to cover and you don't want to switch your weapon, you can still use this. Its ADS stray speed is extremely low at 0.81 meters per second. Its sprint out and tac sprint out times are 304.10 milliseconds, which is pretty low and kind of expected for a rifle like this. Its stability is 1.5T, which is really great for a long-range sniper rifle, but it moves so slowly that you're barely going to notice that it's moving. Its bullet velocity though is 1052.6 meters per second, which isn't the greatest for extremely long ranges, and if your target is moving horizontally at a distance, you're going to have a hard time hitting that shot. But if you watch my video from last Friday, you'll see how little you have to actually compensate for bullet drop. And lastly, its rate of fire is 1.18 rounds per second, or 71 rounds per minute, which is quite a lot faster than most other sniper rifles. So it gets a mobility score of 24. Its recoil is the closest to what I would describe as perfect. It centers perfectly after every shot, and due to its aiming stability, it feels like you're hitting the exact same point without even moving your mouse. Of course, this changes a bit at extremely long distances where you do have to nudge it back to the original position. But if you're hitting the max fire rate cap, you can easily use this up to 330 meters. But because of the extremely low fire rate, my stat guide scales the perfect score to a recoil score of 33.5. For its damage, it has a drop-off point at 74 meters. Here you can obviously get a one-shot headshot, but you can also get a two-shot upper torso kill. Elsewhere, it'll be 3 for lower torso and 3 for limbs. Past 74 meters though, is still a one-shot headshot, and it's a 3-shot anywhere else. Sadly, unlike the Swiss or the ZRG, it can't get a 2-shot kill in the upper torso at longer ranges. But because its fire rate is much faster than other sniper rifles, it will be achieving this 3-shot kill just a little bit slower than another rifle would get a 2-shot kill. So it gets a damage score of 40. And when we add up all the categories, it gets a final score of 97.5. As many of you know, this is a pretty average score for a sniper rifle. And it is, of course, a pretty average sniper rifle. It's not as good as the Swiss or the ZRG, anyone can figure that out. And those weapons get points at least 10 points higher. So, should you use the M82? If you don't mind being outgunned by the Swiss or the ZRG, then yeah, the M82 would be one of the better choices. Especially with the fact that you can get a 2-shot upper torso kill in the first damage range, that makes it a little bit more forgiving. At longer ranges though, it is very similar to most of the sniper rifles. You should always be trying to get headshots, but if for some reason you and your enemy are both potatoing and you're ending up with that 3-shot kill, whoever has the faster fire rate, and this would be in your case, would have the advantage. I would like to say though that in a sniper to sniper battle with very little horizontal movement, the M82 has a major advantage due to its bullet drop. Sure, you can learn to use the ZRG at extremely long distances, but if you watched last week's video, you would know that it's not the easiest to line up shots with, since it doesn't have the best bullet drop. And that's one of the reasons that people are still using the HDR despite it being a much worse weapon than the ZRG. Learning to compensate for bullet drop is a lot of work, since it's not a linear change. You have to memorize exactly how high to aim in order to hit shots at specific distances. Of course, you can memorize the drop at every 100 meters, but then that's still quite a lot of work compared to just aiming slightly above their head. Just remember though that the M82 may have great bullet drop, but it doesn't have the best bullet velocity. So if you're having a sniper battle at longer distances, and your enemy is crouching in and out of cover to take their shots, there's a good chance that you won't be able to hit them. But really, if you're using the M82 and you know it's not really meta, you don't really care for this sort of thing, you just kind of want to have fun. And it is safe to say that the M82 is the best semi-auto sniper rifle in the game. And I do occasionally bring it out to have some fun. But I want to say how much I dislike the reticle on the default scope. It looks cool, but it's a little too crowded and can sometimes hurt you in a fight. But honestly, that and the bullet velocity are my only nitpicks. So try out the M82, it's a lot of fun and a lot more different than the things we're used to using. And if you've used it recently, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't, will you try it out now? And as always, if there's any weapon, build, or part of the game you want to break down, let me know and you may see it on the next Community Wednesday. But that's the video. If you enjoyed it or it's helped you in any way, let me know by leaving a like. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you want to make sure that you never miss another video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.